complex matter. I mean, certainly for people who aren't aware of what the difference will be when these new laws do take effect. We've heard the Finance Minister trying to say what the differences would be in terms of the tax and the benefits. Ideally, what do you think is the greatest benefit with these laws and when they do come into effect?
I would say the immediate benefit that people will have is especially Provident Fund members and people saving in retirement annuities. They can enjoy higher deductibility up to 27.5%, where in the past Provident Fund members had no deductibility for contributions, meaning tax-free savings into retirement vehicles.
Okay. Currently, tax deductions, I mean, they're only enjoyed by pension fund members. I mean, you've alluded to that now. For those not belonging to the Provident Fund, just explain to me how much of a benefit is it in monetary terms? I mean, it certainly depends on contributions, doesn't it? Is it sizable?
Yes, so it depends what your employer or yourself contributes to your retirement solution. Now, many people contribute between 15 and 17% of their package to retirement funds.
Yep.
So, that's quite a big portion of your income, which you can then, you don't have to pay any tax on that. So I would say that's a significant amount in your life.
We saw this rush for resignations last year, and it hit the news headlines as soon as these taxation laws went out for public comment. Are we likely, I mean, if the awareness levels do not rise on worker level, are we likely to see that again? Of course, you would advise against that.
Yes. So what's interesting is what we saw last year, those were basically government employees and those were not in the private sector. Yeah. That's the first point to make. Then also National Treasury made it clear in the media statement that they would go through a media campaign, and I'm sure it's what we're seeing here is the start of that. So hopefully we won't see that again. Unfortunately, people become worried when it touches their money or their livelihood. So I hope people are not responding to this rashly. People should consider things carefully and make sure they understand what's going on.
Approaching your HR department is of absolute importance, I would think.
Yes, approach HR department. If you have an advisor, talk to them. But before you take any action, go and talk to them, because the rules on the resignation did not change at all.
Yeah. Two things the Finance Minister brought up this morning. The one is that all savings before March would not apply to this measure. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that the actual capped amount is significant. Just talk to us about that.
So, yes. So what's great about that is when the money you save over your life, you have a certain idea of how you can use it one day. Yeah. So Treasury understands that, and that's why they're saying we won't touch the money you've saved to date. Then there's the cap of 350,000. That means you have to earn something around 2 million a year to be affected by that cap on tax-free savings. So not likely for many people. But for those who are saving more than that, that's great. They should also remember that your returns are tax-free. So it's still a good vehicle to invest in, even if you hit the cap.
I just want to end by saying, I mean, we saw this clearly with the unions. There's this fear that they would be compelled to actually keep their money and not have control over it. And I think it's that control that perhaps upsets a few people. I mean, is it as bad as it comes out to be?
So, in my opinion, I would say, given that the minimum amount you have to save before you're affected by this being 247,500 rand, yeah, not many workers who can't afford to retire would be affected by this. So I would certainly say that's high enough to make sure we take care of those who can't afford to retire, but it's low enough to make sure people have an income in retirement.
All right, we're going to have to leave there. Arno Loots from the Umbrella Solutions section at Liberty Corporate. Thanks indeed for coming in.
Thanks, Devin.
We'll take a look at some international business news when we come back. Do stay with us.